Welcome to Exit Frag, episode number 1. I'm joined by my co-host, Esports Andy and Ford TV. Welcome to this new venture between a bunch of Valo tubers. I don't know what other type of acronym to
That
use.
that term could work.
Yeah, I feel like
YouTubers.
that's good.
VCT tubers.
The
I don't know.
VCT tube.
VCT tubers. Okay, cool. Um, so today Uh, actually, we're going to introduce ourselves first. Let's start with my co-host, Andy. Introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who
Yeah,
you are.
I'm esports Andy. I mostly just cover, like all of us, we just cover VCT stuff. Mostly go into the stats, s- uh, strategies, and stuff like that. Pretty much, yeah. Just try to post it every week.
All right. Ford.
I'm forward. I also mainly do VCT stuff, but it's more looking at stuff inside the game, like agents and metas and stuff like that. That's what I'm currently focusing on. So yeah.
Cool. And obviously, I'm Zeph, and I also cover VCT, just like all these guys, except mine's a little more comedic, more haha, making fun of teams. And some people like it, some people don't, and I totally respect it. Um, yeah, you probably know me from the Haters Guide to VCT. Probably every event I've covered since like last year. So yeah, so this is it. This is the crew for Exit Frag episode number 1. Our main goal is to just have a podcast that covers VCT when there's that other famous podcast that is not on the air. So we're gonna try to fill you in on the days that they're not live. But also, we just want to see if this can gain some traction and uh, fill in, you know, maybe a number 2 spot in your podcast rotation. So yes, all things Valorant here, and yeah. Um, let's see. Today we're gonna start with free agency, and we've actually had a couple of things. So Pancada, let's start with him. He actually is not released from Sentinels, but he is allowed to go to another team right now. Give me your quick thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is obviously great for him, and like Sentinels said, it was pretty much just to do right for him, but also do right for the organization because they don't want all that drama. Also, having like knowing for sure now that Celsius is your fifth man no matter what, even though everyone already knew that, signaling with Pancata being gone is just like really great for all parties. And Pancata can now, it looks like he might be joining like Lev or who knows. It's just exciting to see him play again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was put in a bit of a hard spot. You know, the fact that Sentinel started doing really well without him, it's kind of sad because he is a very good player. So it's like, it's not Sentinels aren't doing well because they don't have him. They're just doing well because they're playing completely different. It's not the fault of them losing a lot last year was not really his fault. So I I think maybe MLBR may pick him up. Maybe he wants to go back to speaking Portuguese. I don't know, but it he can really go anywhere. He can go to Europe even possibly. Some European teams might want to take him. You never know.
Yeah. I was also under the impression that Pancada was probably going to go back to a Brazilian team. I know Andy over here is hoping that he goes to C9, but I think they have
Just
Gen.G. They're
anything.
probably
That would
okay
be
with it though.
interesting.
But
Well, that'd be.
which
That'd be
I don't think
crazy.
it would work, but
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
like
I don't think so. Honestly, I think I said this pretty much day one about Sentinels picking up the two Brazilian players, and it's that the language barrier was always going to be like a big thing. And even though I think Saucy has been able to like transition out of that role, um, out of that issue, I don't think like Pancada has like had a great experience with that. His English is just like much worse than Saucy's, so I mean, I'm sure like some things in Valorant are like a little bit universal, but I assume like when you're trying to like get into like complicated retakes and stuff like that, like communication falls apart a little bit. So that was like I was under that impression that maybe it didn't work out because of that. And like when Zelsis like stepped in for his role, it was like super apparent that the communication was like a lot better.
Yeah, like what I was just seeing like in a lot of their comms back like last year, it just felt like maybe it's just reading too far into it, but like Pincata a lot of the time felt like he was kind of the odd man out, where like they clicked like cohesively more as a team, gelled off of each other. And Pincata, while he's like a great player, just didn't really fit. And then when you have someone like Zelsis, who's both a really great player who's had LAN experience with the version one, then when you get him with like a team that needs someone to be upbeat because Tens isn't an upbeat guy, like he's more chill, laid back, and then John QT is he can be like that big person, but you have Zelsis who will provide that energy that if you had Pincata in that situation, he's another chill guy. So like, who do you really have bringing the energy on that team? And so
Yeah.
like Pincata needs to find a team that doesn't really need the energy. They just need a skilled player. And that could be like Lev or MIBR even. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the situation in Leviathan is. I mean, especially because they didn't qualify, but to me the teams that make more sense is like probably like Furia or
Yeah.
MIBR. I think I for the case for Furia, I think like they have MW Zera who is like really good and he was playing actually pretty well in like his opening match against NRG, but I think it just kind of fell apart because some of the other players aren't as talented.
I,
And
I
for
heard
me
some
like
stuff.
MIBR like the coaching actually made them better. They played a lot better than they did last year. So I think maybe an impact player like him could probably go over there and like make a substantial change in terms of talent.
Yeah, I was just gonna say real quick that I think I heard that like there's some rumors that he rejected like a contract from Furia. Like
Oh,
they were in the process of finalizing it and then he kind of pulled out recently. So I thought Furia 2 would be a really good spot, but I guess like some it's still just a rumor, but
Yeah. Internal conflicts, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, maybe he just didn't see like they were building something that he would like maybe Lev might he felt like he could find a better option with Lev or MIPR, or maybe he had got an even better offer somewhere else. I don't know.
He's going to Koi. That's where he's going.
Oh man.
he can replace one of the two homeless people that are in Koi
Yeah.
jerseys. No, Koi actually
The
didn't
FM.
do as bad as
Nah,
everyone thought they would do. So they're actually doing okay. Um. Okay, Cloud9 are looking to make some changes. No one's okay. Actually, Whippy's the only one that's actually been let go.
And there's been rumors that Jake's also going to be let go real soon too.
damn.
Yeah.
So they, which makes sense if they're going to make moves, it makes sense it's them. But
Damn. Losing MCE was the like. I don't know why they did that. That was the
that,
biggest troll
yeah, that's
of the off
insane.
season.
Because now
It's
we
like
see how good coaches are for a team. Like we
yeah.
see it.
And now it's like the perfect time for him to have a coach like that because he's so good at scouting. Like because Curry's not joining, they need like to pick up like a tier 2 Sentinel or something just to fill that gap. Because MCE could definitely pull. He got Jake out of nowhere. He could definitely pull like another player, like an up and comer out of nowhere. So yeah, they've really screwed themselves over. But I suppose he's not like in a like sort of an analyst position. He's just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Guess stuff didn't work out.
I mean, yeah. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. Like the free agent pool is not as interesting as it was obviously at the beginning. Um, And I mean, I wish we had our resident challengers fanatic here in four, but he probably would know more about like roster changes, maybe who's going where. But I mean, I haven't heard any rumors about who they're picking up.
I say they pick up Fluorescent from Shopify Rebellion, Game Changers.
True.
She is insane.
Wait, she can't play though. She can't play.
Oh man,
She's 17.
Oh,
because
that's
the
tragic.
56-9 game to open.
Ooh.
Oh my, or like series. That was a
Check her
series.
PC. Check her PC.
It's crazy, but yeah, I don't know what C9's gonna do. They went through this last year, and they like dropped Yay, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they ended up going on the run that they ended up going on with Rooney. So if they pick back up Rooney, like it looks like they probably are gonna do, like I don't know, but I just don't think with this America's League you could do what they did last year.
Yeah, it's really stepped up a lot.
'Cause, yeah, they're not gonna go 8-1 like that, or I guess would it be like 9-1 now?
Have the groups for Americas got released? Because I know the EMEA ones did, but I don't know about the
I think just the EMEA ones.
just the EMEA.
The EMEA ones.
Okay. Yeah,
I
the
haven't
EMEA
even
ones
looked
are
at it,
spicy.
so I can't really comment on it.
Yeah, Karmine Corp and Fnatic, same group.
Yeah, it's definitely one stacked group right now.
Is there any other free agent stuff that I haven't talked about yet?
Oh, what? Can we talk
EMEA has
about
stayed the same. Oh, Zest.
Bleed and Bleed?
Oh yeah. Zest is going to
Zest.
bleed.
Bro, I feel so sorry for
I don't-
Crazy Guy. Well,
I
imagine
don't
you like
know.
grind the Ascension League. You lose 2 games and you're just out. That's so sad.
Honestly, I have no clue what's going on in with bleed. I none of their choices make sense in my mind. Um,
Oh, and there's so
like
many great players like out in that region that they could pick up. Like it's just I think it's insane.
yeah. I like I said, I don't know what particularly is going on with bleed because you know they had Ye on the Viper, which was so confusing to me. And then like they played really bad, and then like Ye was like, oh, like I had like vision problems during the game. And I mean, look, I'm not gonna call Ye a liar, but you know, maybe he was too embarrassed to admit that he probably just doesn't belong on the flex role, I guess.
I think he just probably had a panic attack or something. Like I get it. Like that's stressful, especially in a role that you shouldn't be playing. Like when he was at his peak with Optic, and then even Andbox before before joining Envy, they set him up for things, especially as like he was never really like when Jet was OP, he was on the Jet, but even then, like he just had raw aim. Once the Chamber came around, that was when like he was the great second dagger for the team, and not like a flex player when you have to like set up your own teammates. That's not what he's
Yeah.
for.
He was a trade player. And
Yeah.
obviously when he traded, he would get like 2 or 3, like most times.
Yeah.
So he's like playing so passive. Like it feels like he's like sometimes he's scared because he's put on these roles where he can't really, you know, shine. I guess he's got to play his role perfectly rather than try and take risks. I feel like Bleed in general is just a bit. They're playing so timid, even though they've got some absolutely insane players. So
Yeah. So yeah, Zest is joining the roster. I was confused, to be honest, because like Zest was also playing the duelist role for a bit. So like him joining like bleed, I was like, you already had an identity crisis. Now you're like continuing the identity crisis. And then like you dropped, like they didn't drop. One of them is on the bench, and then the other one was released. Um and I don't get it. And then there was also like some drama about it, something about like Scary and Yay kind of like forming a faction against like the OG bleed players. I, it's just like it's a disaster class over there. Um,
don't
and
know what's going on.
I don't really know who to like trust per se, because it seems like it was just a lot of like petty drama. So
Yeah, Also, Zest has only played non-Korean teams, so like it was interesting to see how he switches over to the English and seeing if he can like manage that.
I don't know. I've learned that like having a bunch of talent on your team doesn't mean you're gonna win, especially with like so many slots for international events. Seems like the teams that have like the highest chemistry with each other tend to be
Yeah,
the ones that
the
qualify.
vibes-based team. Paper X
Yeah,
is a great example of vibes-based teams.
vibes-based team.
Like
I
I get
mean,
where Bleed's coming from picking up Zest because it's like it's clear what their thought process is on building these teams. Let's get the biggest name brand player that's available that like we can just slot in. It's
yeah,
like Zest, like who else in the free agency like is a huge name that people like that's what they're just doing. They're just picking up another okay, we don't
like
know if
really
he's
good
gonna
player.
really
Yeah,
fit, but we know he's Zest.
We'll see.
yeah.
Could
But
become a
I don't
I
know.
feel
superstar.
bad for the players, really.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Bleed might have been just better sticking with their Ascension team, like roster.
Yeah,
It's just sad.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
two of their players can't play. One because of
Yeah.
military
Oh
service,
yeah,
the other
because
one because of
Juicy
age.
is
Yeah,
17. Ugh, they should just let him play.
I that rule is so stupid, in my opinion.
I yeah, I don't.
It's just due to like labor
Try,
laws or labor
yeah.
laws and
Yeah,
stuff.
international labor laws because it
Mm-hmm.
changes from country to country.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and I heard that for a second they figured it out because he was
Yeah.
grandfather in or whatever.
It
But
was
I
a
don't think that's going to be an
grandfather.
issue in like less than a year. So, doesn't matter. Okay. Let's see. I can't wait. Where's our topics? Okay, you guys sent me your list.
We have buffs and nerfs,
Oh
and like the
yes, we
new
have
agent.
patch
Ooh, the new
notes.
agent.
Yeah,
I haven't even
so
looked at the
and
patch
the new
notes.
agent as well. So
Oops.
we're gonna talk about like the agent pool, like what's been picked, what hasn't been picked. Uh I think we just start with like the most obvious one right off the gate, and it's Viper. Viper is a huge problem internationally. The only like region that didn't play them a lot was China, and even then I was weirded out that they weren't playing
I mean,
Viper.
China plays some crazy comps, so you know they're wild out there. They're going crazy with the
Yeah,
comps.
they haven't had the game that long, so I don't
It's
blame them.
true. Can't.
But yeah, Viper, huge problem. Higher pick rate than Chamber on his prime. So that's been a huge problem. How do you guys solve the Viper problem?
It's just
Hmm.
it's the decay, like
Yeah.
because there it's the only smoke that has like you
Damage
decay
falling.
in it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful. You can just set up an orb at a big choke point, especially like in Breeze. That's why it's so OP on Breeze. You can just set it up on any the two chokes at A, and then they walk through. You just spray. Like it's something that like no other smokes agent has. So
We'll
of course
see.
it's gonna.
The new one might
Oh,
have it as
Oh
well.
May,
yeah,
probably not.
I,
Nah.
I, it just there needs to be another option, or you need to get rid of it, or at least make it
Um,
not as bad.
I think what they could probably do to like fix Viper is just like not remove the decay because it's part of her kit, but like make it to where once the fuel tank runs out on Viper side, like you can't just use it again. That's like
Ooh.
the only way that I could see them fixing it. But then
Oh, that'd be
also I
quite
think
cool, wouldn't it?
Viper's pick rate would like plummet.
Plummet. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
I don't know if you want to kill her because it's still like, yeah, she's picked a lot, but
It's also it's just the fact that on he's picked a lot on double smokes because her like lurking ability is like unbelievable on attack. Like Lotus is a great example on A site. You just throw that wall up every time, and because of the sky nuts as well, they have to use like a lot of util to like see if you're lurked up or not. It's just so annoying to play against. this is a thing in many different maps, but Lotus especially is the one that's really annoying. And then on defense, she's basically a sentinel. Like Loud, like don't have said this, like, or Sadak, like it doesn't need to play sentinels, just play Viper instead, because you can just stall sight hits with one molly and a Viper orb. So it's just the two things combining together just make her so annoying to play against.
Yeah. Either that or like make the cooldown on the on her wall and orb like longer.
Mm. Or
That's
the
like the only
vulnerable
way
like
to
doesn't
like
last as long. Like
yeah, probably reduce the fuel tank again and then make a longer cooldown because I think the reason why you would want to like nerf Viper to the point where like she's not picked as much is because you want Harbor to be
yeah,
picked
Harbor back,
more
yeah.
as the line smoke.
But then people are
And
playing Harbor Viper, so this is interesting.
yeah,
It's like
I feel like the Harbor Viper has decreased like a lot.
it has, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the map pool, especially. Like Sunset, you
Oh.
can play loads of different smokers on.
I honestly figured that it would go up because we have like Icebox and we have
Well, we got Brim
Breeze.
on Icebox, which is pretty crazy, but I like it. It's interesting. The G2 goes and we're playing Brim Viper. That is a crazy comp. I like it on
Hmm.
Icebox.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other agent that also has been seeing a lot of play is Yoru. How are you guys feeling about Yoru
Oh,
being like
so
in
happy.
the map agent
That
pool?
is like, I mean, it's all reliant on
It,
tactics, which is great. You watch a
it's
perfect
so
Yoru
fun.
play, it's so fun to watch. With the
Mhm.
Yoru's overall, Yoru ult's overall is so like, it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And just a different and the best use was of course the Martine one on split with the Astro Wall. That was crazy. That was
Yeah.
so
Like
inventive.
the one play that like stuck out to me was I think yeah, it was Martine. So it was Martine against like Fnatic and I think they had Alpha lurking on the
Yeah.
opposite side, and you see like their Omen. I don't remember who was on Omen, but like like
Shin, I
Martine
think. Shin.
ults goes into their spawn, and then Omen flashes. When he flashes, he gets out of the ult and kills Alpha for free.
And
So
just
like
TP's back, it's
they've been comboing the utility
Mhm.
like so good with Yoru.
they've really yeah. Second artist on Yoru was that was
Yeah.
a bit of a rough one. But yeah,
Uh,
Karmine Corp being crazy on Yoru.
well, it's just cool to see like a different type of entry player, like not just like the normal dive agents,
Right.
Mm.
because
And
yeah, that's all we've gotten ever.
yeah. And I think it's important to note that like only a few teams have been playing the Yoru by himself. Um,
Hmm.
so they usually either pair it up with like a Jet or I've seen mostly Raze. Like it's Raze Yoru that are like combo together, and so like those two are actually pretty good. Like a lot of like the Yoru stuff is either used to like rotate on defense, or you know try to get a lurk pick and then like TP back to the team. So
Yeah.
that's how I've mostly seen used. I really like it. It's not like your rank person who is like just
TPing, then just
TPing
spawn,
into
die.
sight and just dying. Yeah. So I really like how they've been using it. Hopefully, like people start picking up on those things, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, I remember a lot of analysts were saying when, like last year, when Yoru came out, Yoru's not going to be used as like a hard entry character. Yoru's going to be used more as an info initiator style, which is like literally what players are now, what teams are using him as, especially just farming the ult, getting the
Hmm.
info off that, and just hitting sight with him. And it's so annoying to play against. If you're like solo, this is like literally because this is the Viper counter. It's his ult. Like, you can just find where the Viper is, and then have your team like fly off of that. Like if you have the jet, as Zeph said, just hit towards the Viper instead of like waiting for the mollies and your jet gets stuck on site because he's the whole team's Viper mollies. You can have that two sort of combined together. It's so interesting to see.
Well, I can't remember who said this. Maybe it was Sideshow or maybe TMV. But they were saying like, imagine when if like Fracture came back into the pool with like Yoru and stuff, just
Wow.
getting like farming the orbs up. Like, and not
Yeah.
enough teams like really play the orb game, like the macro in that,
Yeah.
and you could really like do some damage with like Yoru on that map.
There are
Just
some,
getting so
yeah,
much information.
there's some teams who play the orb like Loud is a great
Mhm.
who like when they were running the Phoenix on Ascent, that's just purely orb game because they
Yeah.
want that ult as much time as possible. So that's like Loud are a great team to watch if you want to see how to like really take orb control, just farm them every round. But yeah, same with Karmine Corp, of course, because as well, because again, the ult pretty much every round for Martine. So
Yeah. And obviously, I think the last big one is probably Cypher. I mean, he's
Oh,
been used
Omen.
a lot. Like, it's just insane the amount of like kills. Like you see it in your rank games, obviously. Like people just like walk through the smoke and then get caught and then they just die. But like we're still seeing it in VCT as well. Like the highest players aren't like immune to it either. Like I've seen so many like sunset execs where they just walk and they walked into the trip and then just die. So
I think maybe it's a newer map. That's probably the
yeah,
reason. I think some of the trips on that map are especially super annoying to break.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and
Yes.
like people have been like finding ways of like putting trips in like places I couldn't even
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like actually, I think there's like a Twitter account out there who is like literally just all about cipher
Yeah. All
trips
the
and they're
godlike trips
documenting
from
all of like
VCT.
the VCT
Yeah.
ones.
The Zeph. Was it? No, who was it?
It's like a
It was
Japanese account. I can't
that.
remember
Yeah. That
exactly who it is.
he showed that I've been using this trip on A site bind. You see that one off like the little ridge? That one is really good.
Yeah,
Like crosses the whole site. Yeah. Very inventive, especially down in the meta. People want to find the trips. Like before, like people just play Killjoy, so who cares about finding cool cipher trips if you just can play Killjoy? But now, like, there's a reason to actually find these trips.
yeah. And like just to like end off, like I think this has been like the best meta we've like ever had. Like
I like
almost
the smoke meta
the double
Oh
smokes was
no,
yeah it was good, but
because yeah, with Omen and everything,
yeah
like because that's technically at least in EMEA the most picked agent for them.
yeah.
Because which makes sense. The Flash is just so good. Like
yeah,
the
I was watching Team Heretics and Navi, and they're like both in overtime, and no one can win like an attack round. You know how like Team Heretics won the attack round? They literally planted a spike on B side, and there was like three smokes. There was like a Viper orb at the choke point, and then there was like two Omen smokes like hanging on that like on that box towards the entrance of B main, and literally the only reason they won is because they spam smokes.
Oh, that round was.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's one
the
thing. I
yeah
think it's
go ahead.
just. Was it what map was it? Was it Sunset?
It was
No,
sunset. Yeah, B
It's just a
main.
sunset. Yeah, that map is just a spam fest when it comes to afterplants.
Yeah, because people are just. I've noticed like teams are planting on site and holding on main.
Yeah, it's the little box in main that just makes it so annoying. And they're throwing that one way now. Actually, if you see the one way on the box, which is quite cool,
Yeah,
but it's just other than that. You just throw a smoke in front of you and just spam because you could have had that protection.
yeah. So, I mean, it's been yeah, it's been a good meta. I like where the meta's going. Like the
Yeah.
diversity of agents is really good. Like EG obviously tried to do the deadlock and
They
that
won
didn't work out.
one map.
Okay, they won one.
Yeah.
They won one map. Wait, did they win two actually? No, I
Well,
think it was only
they
one.
lost with
I think
the
it was
other.
only
They
one.
lost on one of the maps to deadlock, but
Mhm.
they did beat G2.
Oh, they
So
lost a lot. They lost a lot.
Yeah.
wow.
So
They lost the same amount as Fnatic.
yeah, yeah, that's crazy to think. That roster's not too bad though.
Yeah.
Okay, top 10 players for Masters Madrid. Um, who wants to start this off?
Not me.
Okay, I guess I'll
Um,
go. Okay, my top 10 is I have Martine as my number one. Actually, I should go in reverse order. Okay. Oops. Spoilers. All right.
Ah, that's a spoiler.
Number 10, I have Devi. And, I think he played okay in playoffs. But the reason I have Devi on number 10 is because he's just such a clutch player. Uh, he's like very good, especially during like the international events. Like he tends to like play a lot like better, and the quality of play is insane. And then he's also like kind of the pseudo IGL. I know they technically don't have one, but he kind of is the IGL, and he's a fragging one at that, which is very impressive to me. Number 9, I have Meteor. I mean, I probably should have him a little higher because he won Pacific, but to me, this is more of like a leadership thing, and it's because he was like able to step out of the duelist role into like the sentinel role and just give the spotlight to like texture, and I think that's really admirable. And he's still putting up numbers, which is like the crazy part. And so I just think like him being the leader of the team, even though he's not the IGL, um, I think is a cool thing. I mean, he pretty basically rebuilt the whole roster, and he didn't do it around himself, which is something you don't really hear from other players. So that's why I have a number 9. And then 8 something, he just mechanically incredible. I'm sure he will. I don't think he played that well. Like I mean, Paper X just didn't play the way I think they were gonna play. I thought they were gonna destroy everybody, but they didn't. Like everybody was like competitive against Paper X, which is interesting. Um. So yeah, nothing much to say about something other than like he's just really good. And then for my number 7, I have Charon, and that's because like he just kind of came out of nowhere and was just like carrying everybody. Um. So like he was playing like really good. Like on a lot of maps, he's like the top 2 player, uh, like the whole match. So he's just crazy. 6, I have Sadak, and again, it's for leadership reasons, and he has like really like rebuilt that loud roster again. And while I don't think it's to the level of what it was last year, it's still a very high level. I think the QCK thing probably has diminishing returns because people are kind of picking up against how to play against the Phoenix, but I think it could work out if they give him a deeper pool. I also understand they probably didn't have him that long, or they're trying to save strats or something like that. But yeah, Sadak, good leader, rebuilding teams. This is like the third time he's rebuilt a team, so he gets number 6 for me. I'm gonna combo 5 and 4, and it'll be because like they're on the same team. So Tens and Zekken, and they've just been playing amazing. I mean, Zekken has been like really good, and Tens on the smokes has been um, really solid as well. I mean, he's like Tens on the support role is still fragging out just as much as like any duelist, which is really cool. 3, I have Miniboo, and I mean the dude's just been playing insane. Uh, I would have Boo on this list, but he kind of fell off in terms of statistics towards like the end of the playoffs. So I just have Mini Boo on here because he really kind of uh, carried Heretics into a new level. Now I know that like Woot or Woots, I can't remember. Um,
Woot.
Woot is possibly going to play at Madrid. I think he's turning 18 by then, and so hopefully he's there. But we didn't see anything from him. I didn't really have anybody else from Heretics on this list, uh, so I just wasn't that impressed by other people, even though Benji Fishy did pretty okay. And then for 2 and 1, they're from the same team. I have Narrate and Martine. Now, obviously, in my opinion, I think Martin is number one because he was just doing some crazy plays against Fnatic, and yeah, he's just really good at fragging. He doesn't mind playing a backseat role when needed, and I thought the Yoru that he played on Split was pretty clean. So that's why I have him at number one.
Oh, that's a good list.
Yeah. We probably should have alternated our numbers, but it's okay. We'll figure this out in the future.
Yeah, I can do mine.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start off with one that you didn't have, and I don't think anyone has, which is Life from
Ooh,
FPX.
yeah.
Life.
He's been picking up Chamber a lot, and has actually been looking like pretty good. Put up a good ACS. Uh, Kind of the reason why FPX made it. Was really good at like being the tip of the spear for that team. Um, I really like his. I'm really interested to see because these teams haven't really been facing like a solid chamber. Uh, Gen.G and Paper Rex did with T1, but other than that, uh, like I'm just interested to see how Life does.
Yeah.
I really liked him in China, but yeah. So then 9, I have Mini Boo. Just really standout player. Just pretty much like you said, yeah. Mini Boo is pretty good.
Yeah.
Can frag out. Just all around solid player, but I have him lower just because I'm like he's young. Um, Maybe like I just have to see more from him to really be convinced. Anything higher than 9. Then 8, I have something which just I have faith in him as a player. With Paper X, I think they'll bounce back and do a lot better. Uh, be more cohesive as a team. I just felt like they weren't utilizing him the right way, kind of putting him on different roles. Like that's how Paper X rolls, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done more with him because he's just such a great player. Uh, 7th, I have Martine. I put him a lot lower because everyone after this is just, I think, are just incredible. Martine, while I think he's incredibly technically gifted, just like with Miniboo, I feel like there's certain aspects of his game that I just have to see translate more. Um, like while we did get to see in the grand finals, he was able to do it against Team Heretics and Fnatic and everything. I just need to see it against like Sentinels or Loud. I just feel like there might be some times where he won't be as flashy as we got to see him in the EMEA kickoff. 6th, I have Kang Kang, and I had him lower until I really thought about his opping. I forgot about how great, like if he sees you with his op, there's a
You're
good
dead.
chance you're gone.
Yeah.
And that's something that just is such a relief to EDG, knowing that like there's a good chance that they'll always get a kill with him on the op. And that's just so huge for him. He's also a pretty smart player, knows how to get out of situations when he doesn't hit his shot. But I can't put him any higher because I just think, well, he has a good impact when he's able to. There's times where he just doesn't have an impact in a round.
Yeah.
Uh,
To to add to that a little bit, I think it's just like the play style in China is a little different because like while I was VOD reviewing, while I didn't watch all of China because I just don't have time for that, I just watched like FPX and EDG. There's just some like undisciplined things that like EDG tends to like want to find from other teams, and that causes like them to be somewhat undisciplined. So like I understand like where you're coming from, where like the sloppiness kind of comes out of like EDG, and like it comes out of Kang Kang because he's the tip of the spear, like you were saying. And so like if he goes and he dies round one, then it kind of falls apart for EDG in like some rounds.
yeah. And then so now 4th is the only Loud player I have. on this list, which is less. He always just has to, any tournament he's in, he just kind of automatically has to be on the list. He's continued to prove that when his team needs him, he'll just kind of like have a god round, and just click heads all of a sudden, and that's just going to continue. He always does it. Uh, that's why that's part of the reason why Loud is always so consistent, but also because of Sadak. But yeah, I just think Les always has to be at least top 6 because his fragging ability, his ability to just play off his teammates and make their lives so much easier is just so important for Loud. 3, I have Narrate, which I just made a video about him, and really while he was incredible last year in his role, it's been the way they use him has like unlocked what he should be doing. As like I think he's like going to be one of the biggest superstars because he can flex into roles so drastically with his great aiming ability. It's so crazy that last year he went from being on one of the worst teams to now, like worst teams going into tier 3 NA to now champions of Europe. And it's really because of him just being able to switch to a more passive role while still keeping up his fragging ability, which just it's so helpful for them.
He was flexing the initiator and secondary duelist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was playing like Neon and
Fade and
Fade, and
Raze.
now he's mostly planting the bomb, which I think is like just so much better for him because he doesn't need to like push. Like they have Martine to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's nice that he's able to take more passive play and just yeah. 2, I have Zekin. There's not much I need to say about that. It's Zekin. You already
Just goes
pretty
in
much
and shoots heads.
yeah. And then number 1 might be like a shocker, but I have Texture.
I forgot about
Okay.
Texture. Dude,
Texture, if you see him playing, oh
Texture's
my goodness.
crazy.
And we've seen him play really well before. It's not like necessarily like an insane shock if you've like seen his play. The main shock is just like how consistent he's being right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that when he's on, I think Gen.G is very hard to beat, even though like Pacific might be considered weaker. I actually have a lot more faith in Gen.G than I think a lot of other people do. And I think like the reason is texture. So yeah.
Yeah, I, I think like the reason why Pacific is considered slightly weaker is because like there was just a lot of like roster shuffling like before the season started. So there's a bunch of teams that just didn't like quite click together yet. So like we had like TRX who like I don't know why they changed their roster, but whatever.
And there were
But
just teams that had terrible comps. Like
yeah,
there's solid teams in the Pacific that just look like kind of trash because they just came up with the wrong strategies over the offseason. Like it just didn't work.
Yeah.
It felt like, and I just felt like other leagues figured it out better. But I think like the talent in the Pacific is like real.
yeah.
I just think they'll need longer.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that like Gen.G has like 3 like really good players that I don't want to say came out of nowhere. I mean, Karon's the only one who came out of nowhere, but Texture and Meteor, like Texture was playing like okay in global esports. So like the fact that he like came to this team and the structure here on Gen.G seems to be like so much better for him, and it it's just crazy like with a good team like what that guy can do. And yeah, I mean Meteor, he's just solid. So I think your list was probably better than mine.
Okay. Shall I do my list now?
Yeah.
At number 10, I have it rhymes. I have tens.
Nice.
The role switch of tens has been like incredible. So he's still like fragging on on Omen is pretty crazy. I mean, the plays he's making with Omen are ridiculous, but they're like some of the this is like a reborn tens. It's so fun to watch. This aggressive style Omen. Sometimes it's a tiny bit troll, but most of the time he's always getting three off the TP sometimes. So yeah, I mean it's been fascinating to see. So at number 9, I have Texture at number 9. I put my number 9 mainly due to the fact that just that Pacific has been a little bit weaker, which probably allows for his consistency to be so high, and just Pacific in general has just been a little bit lackluster. I think I don't know. It's just the DRX looked a little bit off. I don't know if it was the day or it's just because they got 2 new players. We'll see later on down the line, but he's still obviously played absolutely ridiculous throughout the games he played. So yeah, I put him at 9. Number 8, I've got Kang. Kang, I mean, I'm a bit biased here. He's one of my favorite players to watch just in general. So he's always just been incredibly consistent. He's really the standout player in China. Even if you don't watch Valorant that a lot, you know who Kang is. Number 7, something. Of course, again another absolutely insanely mechanically gifted player. And he's always going to be on the top 10s. It's just another player who just sort of carries the region in terms of star power. So yeah, number 6, I'm actually putting Divide above something. This is like purely based off the fact of how much he brings to the team. He's just, if you watch any of the comms videos of PaperX, he's always talking, he's always giving info. I'm flashing him, doing this, I'm watching this. He's one of the most vocal players in the team. I mean, a lot of the players in PaperX are very vocal if you look at the comms, but he's like one of the ones who brings a lot of structure, but then also has this good sense of urgency. So yeah, he's, in terms of what he brings to PaperX, is incredible, and he's always just very consistent, and he's unsung hero of PaperX, really. Number 5, I've got Miniboo, breakout star, absolutely insane performances. He's fun to watch with the brother buff. If they ever lose Boo, I wonder how well he'll do. Maybe he'll just drop off without his brother on the roster. Obviously, the first couple of games when him and Boo were popping off, it was so fun to watch. But Boo dropped off a little bit sad for him there. But yeah, Miniboo has still continued the rampage through Na'Vi, and sadly, I think he played pretty decently against Karmine Corp in the final. It wasn't too, the most important game was obviously the Na'Vi game where he just popped off. Number 4, again, a bit of bias here. One of my favorite players, just Les. So Les is just the perfect. He plays his roles to perfection. His aim is insane. He's never making mistakes. He's always in the right position. He's one of the reasons why Loud is so consistent. Even when they swap out multiple different players, he's just got Les there, just always hitting the shots, always consistent. So yeah, that's what number 4. But number 3, I've got Narrate. Yeah, you said before, he's come out of nowhere for tier 3 NA, and he's just absolutely destroying in the EU. I think it's due to the fact that you said before that he's open to sort of not rely on heading in first and being more of a passive player. I mean, I've been watching a lot of his Gecko, and his Gecko is so fun to watch. The way that Karmine Corp combine Gecko utility with other stuff, with the Omen Flash, the Raze utility, is so fun to watch, and he's always following up on that. That initial hit where Martin goes in, he's almost playing like the Yay Chamber role, really, on the initiator. He's always ready for the trade, and his positioning is always really great. His clutching ability is also really good, so that's why I put him at 3. Number 2, I have the aforementioned Martin, of course. He's another player who's come out of tier 2 and he's absolutely destroying. He's pretty entertaining to watch, in and outside the server. He has got a bit of a personality, which, some people say that EU sometimes lacks personality when it comes to players. But this guy, he seems like he's pretty funny outside the.
He's a little
He
hushy
did he did the
mute thing, and I was
he
like,
did the
bro.
He's just trolling. He
Yeah.
gets a clutch. He's just trolling. It's pretty funny to watch. You gotta have some of those like in football and British football. I don't know how to swear, but it's S-housering is what they call it.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. It's just funny to watch. And the number one, I've got Zekken. Now I put Zekken. He's so consistent. It's unbelievable. It's like even last year when they were losing, he was still putting out outrageous numbers. But now he's got John QT with him. Tens doing crazy plays behind him. Like you just watch Tens TP into a smoke, and he's like, oh, I can just run out and kill like 5 people because Tens is just like doing the most outrageous stuff in front of me. But yeah, I mean, he's just so consistent, and I feel like he'll do that on the international stage. He's done it before with XZ, so he's probably going to play very well at Madrid. So that's my top 10.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think all the players we mentioned probably have like a good chance to like frag out.
Yeah.
I think your guys' list was better than mine, but it's okay. Um, yeah. So let's move on to the preview and predictions for Masters Madrid. I'm just looking at the VLR page for the opening matches, and let's start with Karmine Corp versus Fun plus Phoenix.
I mean, if Life has a live game, then
But even
they
then,
win.
like Carmine just has, even if their players have a bad game and FPX has a good game, I think the strat books that both of these teams have to fall back on is just night and day. Like
Yeah.
it's like I just don't think FPX can outshoot that. Like
Mm.
even if they're able to outshoot them, I don't think they can outstrat them.
Yeah, I think it's just. I mean, sadly, China's just obviously not as strong as a region right now. So the teams that FPX have played have, compared to the teams that Karmine Corp have played, have just it's just night and day really. So even if they fall back to the basics, I feel like Karmine Corp will have an easy time here if it's just running defaults rather than going for crazy strats. Obviously, they probably won't run crazy strats in the first game. They're probably just going to just hard default and just hard read them, um, and just still win because they're just probably just mechanically and strategically better just by default.
Yeah. Like for me, like the FPX roster played a little sloppy in my opinion. Like there was a lot of times where like they were like up in score and then they would just like choke a lead and then they would have to like close it out at the end, and it was so frustrating to watch because like they actually have some decent players. Like Berlin has like a pretty decent amount of experience. Life is like very yay light is the best way like I describe it. And I mean the optic yay, not like any other iteration of him. Uh, in the sense of like where he's like super patient, he's like always trying to find like an op kill and stuff like that. Um, and even though he like lurks a little bit, like when he's like the tip of the spear, he does tend to find some value. Now, like I think I'm pronouncing this probably wrong, but like I Young, like he's pretty decent. Like sometimes he has like a really good game, other times he just has like a meh game. Um, like I'm trying to like give them as much credit as I can, and then like Autumn is pretty like lukewarm most of the time. Like the only game like where he like really popped off was like on Icebox on Jet, and then I don't really have much to say about like Lysor. Like he's had a couple plays here and there through the tournament, but he was just like okay. And then like it's just hard because like they play like very undisciplined and they get punished for these things. And like on the opposite end, like Carmine Core have been playing a very disciplined game. Like the execs, the retakes, the holds, like it just looks impeccable. And especially when we're talking about like them defeating a team like Fnatic, who is just like the pinnacle of like what we consider Valorant, and for them to like outstrat them is like insane to me. And so like I just don't see a world where Carmine Core lose to FPX unless they like come out with some comp that just makes absolutely no sense and they just start doing like they're just overconfident to the point where like they're isolating fights and stuff like that. So unless it comes down to like 50-50s, I just don't see Karmine Corp losing this game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be very hard for FPX. It's going to be very hard. One thing China has is mechanics. They have incredibly strong mechanics, but strategically, they're just not up there yet because of such a young league compared to the rest.
Okay. Let's see. We have Gen.G versus Loud.
This is hard. This is very hard.
I got Gen.G. Like I'm really up on them. Especially with I'm not a huge like it worked at the beginning with like Loud and using Phoenix a lot, but I feel like teams are starting to kind of figure it out the more and more they get footage of it. And I don't know. I just think that both these teams are close enough to where, yeah, Sadok's like a better IGL. Like he's gonna mid round better than Gen.G does. But I think that isn't gonna. I think the individual pieces of Gen.G in total, with their normal comps, can just barely edge out like Loud. Like I don't think it's gonna be like a 2-0 sweep. I think it's gonna go down to the wire, but I think Gen.G could have it.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. Gen.G have just been playing more like normal Valorant. I don't know how to like else to say that. And like Loud, I mean the QCK pick on Phoenix, like I agree with it on Ascent. Uh, I think it works out, but like on any other map, it's just look okay. And I just wish they would put QCK in like more roles, but I feel like they're a little scared to do it, and so it's just bizarre to me. I feel like if they get enough like footage of QCK, they probably could counter it. And like you were saying, like the mechanical skill of like the players on Gen.G is probably better than Loud's. I mean, you have like what Kawanzin, and I'm actually Tweez has
Less,
been playing pretty decent. Um,
maybe I think they probably match.
I think it's
Match
really close
in
because
terms of
Sadok
mechanics.
also uses the judge so often that it's like, who cares? like, like he gets so many kills from it that it's like he doesn't really need to frag out. He'll just get a bunch of shotgun kills.
yeah, I think this might come down to like how much Gen.G anti-strats, and if they can anti-strat the Phoenix, I mean, you're in a situation where it might be like a 4v5 most of the time. So
But it is Loud. Like Sadak
it
is
is
so good
loud.
at. They're so good at adapting. They're so good at adapting.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, are we gonna get the Loud that played at like Masters Tokyo, or are we gonna get the Loud that played at Champions? That's like to me
That's
like
that is the
the big thing, especially because they don't have Aspas. Like, he's like a
yeah. They
huge
really have to
impact
reinvent
player.
themselves
Yeah,
with Aspas.
I don't know. To me, Loud is a wild card. I'm gonna give it to Gen.G just because like to me like Texture, Charon, and Meteor just been playing like insane. So
I'm just not a fan of Loud's like flash maxing. Like like Sonic loves his flashes.
He
Like I
loves
think
it.
that's purely the reason why they have Phoenix. Like is
yeah,
for the information and to be able to just flash in with like 2 extra flashes now. Like
Yeah, it's just crazy explosive plays and
it works like sometimes like especially on Ascend, it can be really good at like
yeah.
stalling out retakes, like just keep flashing them until they just like have to save.
right.
But I don't know.
So I think
I'm just gonna say Loud because I want to play devil's advocate, but
okay.
and I'm also I'm a Sadak fan because he's funny and he's a bit out of the box sometimes, so you never know.
Yeah, he's chaotic.
My heart says Loud.
Yeah, I know. Like trust me, I'm rooting for Loud here as a fan, but like I'm just trying to think pragmatically. It's just I can't.
I I'm always praying for the downfall of Brazil.
Oh my goodness.
No,
Oh
the
yeah.
comments. I
Oh
love you,
no,
Brazil.
they're
I love you,
We
Brazil.
love
Don't
Brazil. We
listen to
love Brazil
Andy.
here. We love
I
2 out of 3
I keep the
analysts
Indonesian
love
crowd.
Brazil.
The Indonesian crowd will always have me.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I love Paper X, guys. I love Paper X.
Yes.
They're my favorite team. I'm just covering
Speaking
the
of Paper
bases here.
X, they are facing EDG, which honestly I think this might be the
Oh.
match of the opening week.
This is a crazy match. Firepower on firepower.
You have
Nice.
Kang Kang versus something right off the rip. Personally, oh, I actually think that we'll get an upset here. I think Edward Gaming are likely to win,
Hmm.
and
Is that
I
an
think it'll
upset?
just come out to like luck because we
It
have
might not
like
be
the
an
W
upset,
Gaming crowd and then like EDG, and they've been playing okay. So
I feel like this is pretty even. If Monyet comes online, then the EDG
Oh,
have way less of a chance. That is the factor that will decide this game. Like 100%.
I
it's true.
I think I definitely think they'll do better than they showed up in the, especially in like the grand finals. They just weren't there. Uh, but like really, I did want T1 to make it through because I really liked that team. But I do
Buff to
think
do it.
I do think Paper X is a really solid team, and yeah, like if you have Monette like just playing like solid, which I definitely think he could and probably will be playing. I just don't see Paper X losing to EDG. Like I just don't really see it because the pieces are just there always. Like they always turn it up when they really
Something's
need
always going
to.
to be flying you with a shorty. You
Yeah,
know,
and
it's
they're not going to lose in the opening. Like they're not going to lose in the opening.
yeah, it comes
Yeah,
to two factors, Monyet and if Kang Kang has a good if Kang Kang and Chi Chi have a good game, then that's a chance that EDG can win. But then if
if
Monyet comes
Moniette
online, then it's going
continues
to be hard.
the level of play he's been playing at, I do think Edward Gaming have a chance
They have the
because like
chance, yeah.
Chichu and Kang Kang have already been playing like really well. And I think if like somebody like Nobody or Howdong like really step it up, I think it's leaning a little towards EDG, but
It's
that's
just
just
whether
personal bias.
the Paper X hits their stride straight off the start. You know, if they go full whimsy and everyone's going crazy, then yeah,
I just think they're
EDG are gonna
gonna.
have a rough time.
I just think they're gonna put like they're gonna pull out like all of a sudden show that like ISO is actually like meta.
Yeah, that's and then they lose. Then they
China
lose.
picking ISO would be like so stupid. They would
Really,
be so dumb.
I would never put it past Paper Rex, but like they're just gonna pull out like I'm actually curious to see if they'll pull out just the same exact comps as that they've already
Yeah,
shown,
Monia's had a bit of a
or
rough time on Raze. Like
yeah.
maybe
So like,
because he's switching back to duelist from playing smokes for the whole year.
mhm.
Like maybe it's just that, or he's a bit rusty on Raze.
Yeah,
I
they've
mean,
had him
compared to
like
Jing, obviously.
they had him not 97, 78% of the time on Raze, and the rest was on Omen, which
Yeah,
is like
I mean,
weird.
you compare him to Jing, who's like the best Raze player in the world. So it's always going to be hard for Monya if he's like, you know,
And I said this in my haters guide video. It's that like we can't compare him to Jing based on like what we've seen because we've only seen
yeah,
not 3 maps, 3 matches from Paper X. So it's kind of like maybe he was just having a couple like off games. Obviously, I don't think he'll ever be like a 1-to-1 replacement of Jing, but I mean, maybe just give him a couple more roles to play, and he doesn't have
yeah.
to be Jing. He could he just
You
needs
don't
to
want Jing
be
to.
himself.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I think I'm going Edward Gaming here. Andy is with
I'm
Paper
good.
X.
I'm going Paper X as well.
Paper X. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
the odd one out here. Got it. All right. Last but not least, the NA matchup. The one everyone's waiting for. Sentinels, Team Heretics. Who do you guys got?
Well,
Ooh.
this is for me my game of the opening match because I think this will be really interesting, especially because like Heretics were the better looking team to begin the EMEA than Karmine Corp. Like they just steamrolled like everyone until they got to Karmine Corp the second time. And so I wouldn't really like they could have been the team to win it all and be what everyone's talking about, really. So like I'm really interested. I think Sen and them are. It's so like I actually I don't know. Like that's really hard. I actually have to think.
There's one
Or
key factor. One key factor. It's the crowd buff. The crowd is gonna be wild for Heretics. No one's gonna cheer for Sentinels. That's the one thing, you know. We've seen the crowd have a huge advantage, especially momentum. We've seen it go the complete opposite way, you know, loud lock in, where they just go silent.
yeah.
But if you have momentum, the crowd like that, like as if you're playing like one kill, you get a kill. Oh, they're cheering for you. It just like boosts your morale as a team, like just like 200%, 300% compared to Sentinels who are gonna, you know, not gonna feel that buff really. And as we have players like Zelsis, he probably is like he likes being an anti-hero, so he probably thrives in the fact that he's being a bit of a librarian and silencing the crowd. So he's probably the player on Sentinels who's probably gonna have the best time dealing with that. But other players, maybe Sassy, I feel like he would have a good time, but the crowd buff is undeniable here for Heretics.
I definitely think that like I don't know how Tens has been playing in big moments already, so like I don't
Yeah,
think it should really
he
bother
never
him.
played in front of a crowd,
True. Yeah.
never been national crowd.
Yeah. So I assume he'll be okay. And like I'm assuming Zekin will be okay because he already got through the whole XSET thing.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
already
yeah.
failed. Like so
Yep.
like he's just you know, you kind of get over it. And then John QT is like a rookie IGL. I do think he'll like kind of
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He seems
yeah,
pretty
he'll kind of
stoic.
He
He
he,
seems
he
pretty
played
yeah.
stoic.
Ascension. He played Ascension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
yeah.
He
So
played
I
against the
think
Union. He's pretty
they'll
stoic.
be they'll be fine. Like I don't really necessarily think that will be. I think if anything, it'll kind of fuel them.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
that's
it's
probably
more. It's like it's not like a disadvantage for Sentinels. It's just an advantage for
yeah.
Heretics. It's like
Well, especially how like Mini Boo and all. Yeah, they're
yeah,
very. They'll play with the crowd.
yeah. Mini Boost is like he's one of
That'll
those
be fun.
momentum based players. It's gonna be such an interesting game. I have
I gotta give
no
it
idea
to.
who's gonna win this.
I gotta give it to Sen. I'll give it to Sen. I think Tens is back.
Tensor's back. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think after that last like game, I was like, okay, yeah, like
He's back.
yeah, he knows what his role is. Like last year was trying KO, trying all these initiator that just weren't really working, trying to flash up for himself.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
He's got that aggression.
yeah, now he can actually like play his game.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
we'll see double duelist. Get him
yeah,
on the maybe.
Dang. I don't know who to choose here. Like on the one hand, yeah, like we have Tens and Zekin, but like we have like the Boo brothers on the other side, and then the crowd is a factor, like you guys mentioned. So it's hard for me. I mean, I think I'm probably just gonna lean towards like who I'm probably gonna root for anyways. So I'm going Sentinels as well.
Hmm.
I think Zen takes it here.
I think ooh, it's so hard. I'm gonna go Heretics.
I was
Just
gonna say,
because
like Team Heretics probably had like a harder tournament, but that's a lie. That's a lie.
yeah,
Both teams had like a really long. Actually, Team Heretics didn't have that long of a tournament because they won
Yeah,
their
compared to
groups
Yeah, but
games.
they
Karmine
just
Corp.
steamrolled. Like they
Yeah,
beat Karmine Corp the first time.
Navi. Oh wait, no,
Did
no,
they?
they did beat they beat Karmine Corp
Yeah,
in
Yeah,
in
the
the
group stage,
groups.
in the group stages 2-0.
and then in playoffs they beat Navi.
I'm gonna go Heretics just if they get the momentum rolling. I think it'll be a lot easier for them.
Yeah,
And the
they
Spanish crowds are crazy, so they've got a lot of hype behind them. So we'll see.
they could pull an X set or a guard or just kind of flop.
That's true. They could.
Because
Any of these
someone has
Karmine Corp
to.
could do it. Someone
So,
has to do it.
someone has to
Maybe
flop.
Sentinels does it. I mean,
So yeah, who knows? Like, because one of these teams that showed out is gonna go 2-0 or 0-2.
Mm.
So someone has to be it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so difficult to predict like some of these games because it's like all these teams have been playing like really well. Maybe just not like FPX or to a certain extent like EDG or
Yeah.
PaperX, but like other than that, like all these teams have been like really solid. So it's always like hard to predict stuff like that.
It's impossible. It's a coin toss at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Just who's better on that day, right?
It's just who's better, yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right, power rankings, and I think we need to make this a group power ranking. The top 8
I think we can
teams.
agree on who's last.
Yeah.
All right, FPX.
Yeah.
FPX,
Yeah.
yeah.
FPX.
Okay, who do we have for number 7?
I think you got to put the other Chinese team in there.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
based on
That's
like
what I
quality
feel.
of Valorant. I
It's
would
just because
say
like the teams around they're just crazy. Like it's
I
so
just,
hard.
it's hard to put any like EDG above anyone other than FPX. Like maybe you could say PaperX, but
Yeah.
like
Maybe even loud,
yeah,
but
but
it's hard.
Loud's
It's loud, you know,
no,
you
no,
can't.
no.
yeah, and they have a
I
good
wouldn't put
strat.
loud. They and I'll explain why on the next one. But I do think like Edward Gaming's probably number 7. They just they just played a lot of teams who like didn't capitalize on their opportunity like against Trace. Like Trace had like so many chances of
Oh
eliminating like
yeah.
EDG. It
That
was
game
so
was
annoying like watching Trace like choke like map after map. It was
yeah.
frustrating.
Oh yeah, put EG's 7th then.
Yeah, they part of it was luck. So
Yeah.
I think EDG 7's probably fine.
Yeah.
All right. 6.
I'm gonna
I've got
put who I think is it'd probably be PaperX.
Paper Rex. Okay. What about you, Ford?
I would say PaperX or Heretics, but it's kind of hard. Maybe PaperX. Yeah.
Oh man, we all have. Oh well, actually, both of you guys have. I mean, I was gonna say loud. Um,
Loud. Loud
and
could
okay,
go there
like
as well.
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I think the only reason they beat Sentinels the first map was because they picked that Phoenix, and it just completely threw off Sentinels' game plan. Um, and then I can't remember who they played after that. Let me look it up real quick. But against like the EG game, I mean, it's EG. Like
It is
they
EG.
were never going to win that. Oh, Leviathan. I think Leviathan is like the one like quality match we had from them where like they actually like defeated them like properly. And then like obviously against EG kind of a troll team to play against. Like once they figure out they're like gimmicky execs, like they were able to just beat them. And then like against Sentinels, like yeah, I mean they still had like a quality match against them. Like they got the last 2 maps off of them, and then lost on the last one. But I still think that Phoenix pick is super weak. I don't like it. I think it's gonna be like people are gonna be in the VOD reviews for that Phoenix, and they're gonna be able to counter it. So that's why I would think 6, but obviously
I
we'll just go to the majority.
I could see that. Yeah, because that's what I kind of think. Paper X and Loud are kind of at the same place in my opinion for both two, I guess two very similar reasons, which is just like weird comps. But I guess I would have more faith in Paper X in that situation. So yeah, I guess I would probably say Loud as sixth. Like I kind of changed my mind on that.
Okay, loud. Yeah, loud.
Right. So Loud at 6.
Yeah.
I guess that would be
Okay,
Paper X.
number
Then
5.
Paper X.
I agree with you guys here. Paper
Yeah,
X.
because then the last four teams to me are just like maybe other people don't think of Gen.G as much as highly, but
Mm.
I think they deserve to be in the top four more than like Paper X.
I would say Gen.G, Heretics, Karmine Corp, Sentinels, but or swap. Yeah,
That's
maybe Karmine Corp number one.
that's pretty much what I have. Yeah, because
Okay.
I
Okay. The reason I have Paper X here is just because they did not play as many maps or matches as like other teams. Like, and to me, like people are gonna say like oh, like Heretics probably deserves a spot. The reason I have Heretics higher is because they played better teams. They played Foot, which was projected to be like one of the better teams,
mhm.
and they beat them. I mean, they beat Karmine Corp, which were the winners of EMEA. They played Navi, which was, I mean, they were also rolling other people until they played Heretics. And I mean, yeah, they had a bad match against Karmine Corp, but they did take a map off of him. Um, so I don't think they've been playing bad Valorant by any chance. Paper Rex has been playing against. I mean, they play against Gen.G, obviously, like solid team, and they won. Like the matches were pretty close, except maybe Sunset. That one was not that close on their first matchup, and then they 2-0 T1, which yeah, they were rumored to be like a top team, but I don't think that panned out as well as people thought, and they also kind of had a pretty close matchup against them. Then they lost to Gen.G. So to me, like it's really like the lack of like matches for me that maybe brings them down a little bit. Um, so yeah, that's my reasoning for having Paper X kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good reasoning.
Okay, 4.
Yeah, I think this is where Gen.G has to be because the other three teams are just. I think there's kind of a little bit of a barrier between like Gen.G and the rest of it. Like Gen.G is closer to Paper X and Loud and EDG and everything than what I think the top three teams are. So like I think this is where like it they would have to be.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Gen.G, probably there. Uh, they did end up going play-ins, and even though they didn't lose in play-ins, they did lose to Paper Rex in like the opening match. So yeah, I think that's a good spot. I mean, at the end of the day, they did win, and then they won 3-1 against Paper Rex. So no opposition for me on that spot.
yeah, that's a good position.
Okay, number 3.
It's got to be Heretics, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're
Obviously, I can't
the
rate them
teams.
higher than Carmine Core, and I don't think I rate them higher than Sentinels either. So I think there's some solid talent. I mean, they've been playing really well, very disciplined. I just think that some of the talent on the other two teams are slightly better.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the coach, like the reason why I don't have them as like a top two team is I think their core leadership is better on the other two teams. Like I think Boo is a good IGL. Like I definitely believe that. and I think Weber's their head coach, right? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Weber.
I think he's pretty good too. Like obviously, the third best team. I just
Oh,
think.
Neil Zinio's the head coach.
Oh yeah,
Weber's the assistant.
assistant. Okay, I definitely think that Team Heretics has great leadership and everything. I just don't think it's at the same caliber as Sentinels and as Karmine Corp. Their strats are great. They do everything. They have the talent. It's just the other two teams just have one or two things a little bit more.
Yeah.
By the way, this is based off the roster that they played with at
Yeah,
the tournament. Like if
yeah.
Woots ends up coming back and taking Panatek's spot, then I mean it could change. But
Unless they
for
get
right now,
blown
yeah.
out in the first match, I don't see any reason why you would put in like Woot.
Yeah.
Unless he's just like you had been practicing with him for so long and you have all these set strats with him already. Like there's just no purpose.
No, I don't. I mean, people are saying Woot is insane. So
He
I
is.
mean, I could see them putting Woot in, but I could also just see them riding with Panatek, or
Yeah, I
I'm
think he
sorry,
might be playing
Patatek. I'm sorry,
Patatek.
Patatek. I can see them rolling with Patatek just because like he's been there the entire EMEA tournament. So
Yeah, just I just don't see any reason not to.
yeah.
They're doing well.
All right, number 2. I don't
Yeah,
want to say it.
this is hard, but yeah, I would have Sentinels.
A resident EMEA.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, Comic Core looked pretty dominant. All the games, apart from the one game they played against Heretics. I would probably say Sentinels as well, yeah. I mean, Sentinels and Comic Core had a pretty similar journey. They lost their first game. Yeah? No. Well, they both lost one game in the group stage.
Yeah,
They played through the play-ins. They played a lot of games. They both looked pretty dominant in the playoff stage. Okay, I'll say Sentinels as 2, Comic Core 1.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Sentinels at 2, and it's just, dude, I'm still shocked that they beat like Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone beats Fnatic, that's a accomplishment.
Yeah,
They've only lost 3 times, so
it's insane to me.
well, Boaster was saying he was like he thinks Sen's gonna win because he was like, oh, like we definitely could have. Like there were he felt at least that there were things that they could have done that weren't that crazy that they could have countered Karmine Corp. So
maybe
I don't know if that's just cope by him
be
after
cope.
losing, but I don't know. Like he knows the game better than I do. So.
Fnatic did look a bit off though when they were playing.
It's
They did
one
look.
game. Like it
Yeah.
sucks that
mean,
was it.
The fact that Durka wasn't having that good of a game
Yeah.
speaks a lot.
If it was
But-
double elimination, they would have gotten in. I believe they would have made it to Madrid.
Yeah, but I still think Karmine Corp is looking like very strong, mainly because I mean, yeah, I think they beat Fnatic maybe on an off day. But I mean, to beat like Team Heretics like that badly on the final,
Mhm.
I mean, Team Heretics was looking really strong. I mean, they hadn't lost a game since then, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Like you could say I'm sorry, not Heretics, Karmine Corp, or you could say Sentinels. But to me, I think Karmine Corp looks slightly better.
I
Could be recency bias.
the edge I give is I think Aang's better than Kaplan. So
Ang's listed as Master Trophy, so
yeah, so
Yeah.
I have to see Kaplan do that first. So I that's why I have to give it to Carmine being number 1.
And my number one reason that I'm giving Sentinels 2 and not 1 is because I don't want to curse him.
yeah, that's a good point.
Let's put him
Right,
first.
I'm putting the Chinese teams at number 1. My favorites at the end. Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't want to curse
loud first.
Sentinels. So
You want to
I'm
curse
saying
loud?
Sentinels
Or
2, Karmine Corp 1, NA needs another trophy. Actually,
Okay.
actually, Pacific really needs a trophy.
Pacific needs their trophy.
I just
They probably won't get it. I mean, ooh, Gen.G. But I'd be surprised. Imagine the first trophy from Gen.G. Like last year, no one would
Dude,
have ever guessed that.
HyperX fans are crying right now from that statement.
Imagine. No TRX trophy, no PaperX trophy, Gen.G. No, it's crazy.
watch EDG win this one and then go to Shanghai
And
and
then
win
bomb
that
out
one.
on the.
Oh, that's why I just want to see them do good and get prepared for that because they're gonna make it to Shanghai, and then I want to see Kang in like
Oh, that crowd is gonna be crazy.
yeah
Dude.
they bought
Okay, okay.
this poster Happy Birthday Kang.
Yeah, I saw that little
Ooh.
Yeah.
billboard thing.
The Chinese fans treat this man like he's Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm not even a Taylor Swift fan, but like that statement is insane. Like he's so
Yeah.
popular over there.
He's insane. Like
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
I'm
He's a
just
superstar. He's a superstar.
yeah he's popularizing like he makes me want to watch Chinese Valorant and like I watched the grand finals. I watched the moment where FPX thought it was planted on one site of Breeze
Oh,
and then had to like go all the way
stupid.
back. I was watching it like 3 in the morning or something, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious!"
I don't. But yeah, I mean, especially the way like Ken
And that's why
Kang's
FPX
games.
are 8.
Like he had, oh yeah, he had like 3 op kills on the last run, and then he like Raze ulted. I don't know, that was insane. But yeah, I think we're getting near the end here. I think we've done like all of our segments right now. So, all right. I don't know. Do I do like a weekly award? Are we that much of a carbon copy here?
we
No
can
weekly award.
we can all pick who we actually think is going to win the event because
Oh,
who I
okay.
think is going to win the event is different than my power ranking.
Okay. Go.
I think that Team Heretics will win it.
Home crowd buff, eh?
I think they're gonna. I just thought they had such a great beginning start of that EMEA kickoff. Like, I think
Yeah.
they
The
have a real
format.
chance to like kind of steamroll through, like especially through the beginning. Like, I definitely, if they, to me, if they make it to double elimination, I think they have it. It's just like
The
to
format definitely helps them.
yeah. If they make it to playoffs, I think they got it.
I'm gonna say Sentinels win it. Just so I can get the clout.
Okay. Go
The
go
but
follow him on Twitter.
yeah, but I love
_TV.
Sentinels. Nah, actually, I would say Karmine Corp is probably gonna win. But that's my
My
prediction.
brain tells me Carmine Corp. My heart says Sentinels. I have to pick one.
You
Oh,
have to pick one.
Nah, I ride or die with an A. Sentinels.
Ride or die.
Ride or die.
I ride or die with the EU, even though we've got an NA player, so it's alright.
It's okay. If Carmine Corp win, NA wins.
That's true.
Yeah.
We have a narrate.
He's
All
an honorary European now.
Weekly award, I guess. Actually, we could probably do like a weekly award for each of us instead of like one individual. All right. Could be anything. Weekly award.
I
It doesn't have to be Valorant related. It could
I'm
just be
about to
something
take
cool throughout the
I'm about
week.
to sleep for 4 hours after this, after being up for so long.
So your bed.
Yeah, that's
Weekly award
my
goes to your bed.
that's the weekly
Yeah.
award into your bed.
it's my
All right.
bad.
Ford, weekly award.
My weekly award goes to the Exit Frag graphics, which look very
Ooh.
nice right now. Look at those graphics going
Yeah.
across the screen.
Thanks.
That's my weekly award.
So I get the weekly award. Nice.
You get the weekly award.
Cool. Okay. Mine goes to Denis Villeneuve for making Dune 2 the greatest sci-fi movie of all time.
which I have not seen. So,
Me neither.
I won't spoil anything. All right.
but I have watched his other film, which is a great film, Rival.
Oh,
Anyone
and
watched
Cindy's. That's a great movie, also by him.
Sicario.
Great
Blade
Sicario?
director.
Runner
Yeah.
2049.
Everything he's ever made. Yeah.
Yeah, anything he's ever made.
And he speaks so eloquently.
Yeah. I bet he's a Karmine Corp fan.
You know,
Oh, he's
nah,
Canadian French, so
he's a Gentlemates fan.
Ah, yes. Team Vitality. All right. That's been Exit Frag. Thank you for watching. We'll see you maybe next week, but definitely 2 weeks from now. All right. Bye.